Preparing.
Gabino Mafia, what's up? WrestleMania has concluded. Night 1 and Night 2 have finished. And I'm here to dive in and talk about it. Because I predicted a lot of this stuff to happen. I went perfect on Night 1. If you haven't watched, I suggest you go Peacock, get your subscription, watch Night 1 and Night 2, and then come back. But in between there, you should watch my WrestleMania 39 predictions video, because I predicted a lot of this stuff to happen. So let's take a look at this match card, because this is my second take, because the first take I couldn't remember Austin Theory's name. 39. So we'll go with it based off of how it's on CBS. So we can get to, let's not do that. Images, we'll just go based off images. So, Charlotte versus Rhea. 3 chef kisses. That match was amazing. That bump that Charlotte took on that suplex where she landed on her face was nasty. Nasty, bro. And a friend of mine, Josh, said, I'm surprised they pushed Rhea to the top so soon. And then I told him, Rhea's got that. She's got it in her bag. She's a masterclass in the ring. Her character's great. The development she's had since she's came up from NXT and joined the Judgment Day has just been spot on perfection. The build up to this match was pretty lackadaisical, but so was most of the matches for the women. But I'd easily give this match 5 stars. 5 stars. At one point in time, I was like, Charlotte's really going to retain and Rhea's not going to win the belt. But that didn't happen. Rhea ended up winning, and I was so happy because I'm a huge Rhea Ripley fan, and it has nothing to do with simping over her because she's a baddie, but because I love her character, and I've been holding on to her since seeing her in NXT. And I'm glad they took the belt off of Charlotte because I don't like Charlotte. They've just put the strap on her so she can match Rick's reign eventually, because she's already at 14. So Rhea versus Charlotte, 5 stars. The next one we're going to talk about, Omos versus Lesnar. We're not going to go off for days. We're just going to go off the ones I see as they come up on my images. Omos versus Lesnar wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. I didn't pick anyone in particular to win this match because I wasn't really interested in it at all. And the fact that it only took one F5 to beat this guy that you're making this 7-foot monster, it just didn't do well. Omos didn't do too bad this time around in this match with Lesnar. The match with Braun was bad, but this one was all right. I give it 3 stars. We'll go with 3 stars. Finn versus Edge. If you go to my predictions video, you'll see I called it a barn burner from the beginning. And it led up to that. At points you were like, is Finn going to win? Is Edge going to win? Keeping us on the edge of our seats. They're doing all these things. Finn was leaking, and they had medical staff evaluating him. And then he continued to push forward. And then he went through that table, and it was just a lot of great spots. And what really did it for me is I'm going back to when they hit hit Edge's wife, her name is not crossing my head right now, with her head on the chair, and then hit her with the chair. And Edge did that to Finn. I do believe this rivalry is finally over, and Finn can start to push forward to his next match, his next rivalry. I'm not sure what it's going to be. Maybe they finally have Judgment Day go to SmackDown and have him feud with Roman. I'm not sure what's next for Finn, but anything is possible. We're going to go Austin Theory versus John Cena. It was weird. The ending was bad. There's probably one of the worst matches from night 1, just based solely on the ending. I didn't expect Cena to win, but I didn't expect the ending to go like that. I know Austin Theory's supposed to be this dick guy, and he kind of cheats to win, but it just wasn't good. That wasn't it. The match probably was like a 3-star. And that's solely based on the ending, because they put on some pretty good wrestling in the match. But other than that ending it was bad. Oh man, Seth versus Logan Paul. If you guys aren't tuned in into Logan Paul and how great he's becoming in the ring, you need to dial in. You need to lock in, because the dude, he's probably the best celebrity wrestler to ever come through WWE, and it's not even close. It's crazy to see KSI, and then he took that through the table, the announcer table on the outside, which was perfect. I kind of had a feeling that it was going to be the way they had Seth Lang on the announcer's table, but that match, 3 chef kisses, 4.5 stars, almost perfect. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed how Logan was working over on Seth, and then Seth took this next leap of rage and finished the match. It was great. Probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite match. No, I can't say it's my favorite because there was really good matches on this card for Saturday. But it was good. It was really good. The Miz thing, I'm not going to discuss because who cares? Do you care? Do you care? Because I don't. I don't care at all. I'm not a huge fan of The Miz and this whole thing. It was great seeing Snoop Dogg. I love Snoop Dogg. The Snoop belt, all that. It was great. But other than that, it was meh. Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus versus Bayley, Asuka, and Dakota Kai. It was a pretty good match. I picked the Legends to win, and it worked the way I expected it to, because I just knew it was going to work the way it worked, and it did just that. 3.5 stars. It wasn't bad, but were you really emotionally invested? Because I wasn't. What's next? Ray versus Dom. It was very emotional seeing him come out in the lowrider to Eddie's music. That was beautiful. I'm a huge Eddie Guerrero fan, and them doing that was just absolutely beautiful. The Great Muda Mask was dope. Having the little cinematic entrance for Dominic, having him come out of the cell and arrive in the paddy wagon was cool. I enjoyed it. And Ray needed to win this match because he's going to retire, and he just got inducted into the Hall of Fame, which was much deserved, because he's probably the greatest luchador to ever grace third. It's just as simple as that. And having Latino World Order, which I love that they did that, come out for the save, and then seeing Priest just bully through those littler guys was great. I love Priest, and him hitting with those spots outside the ring was great. 4 stars. It was a good match. You couldn't ask for much. Dominic has really developed a lot over the last few months since he's joined the Judgment Day as well. The Judgment Day has been a bright spot for a lot of these wrestlers, because a lot of them had careers that weren't really going in any specific direction, and now they have a legit direction, and I think they could add one more person. I could see them add maybe Bronson Reed or Ciampa. Someone could be another guy. Then you have a tag team, a singles person, a woman's title, and then you put some of the big strap on Finn eventually, and then you just put all the belts on those guys. I would be perfectly fine with that. What's next? Because we're going to save Sheamus, Walter, and Drew. So this is the one I didn't get right, because I was under the impersonation that Walter had already beat the Honky Tonk Man, which he hadn't. If I would have known that, I would have picked him to win, because he's going to beat that record before he drops the title. What does Big E say? Big beefy man slapping meat. These dudes was hitting hard. And when when Sheamus had Drew over the ropes and he was hitting with those across the chest, he got to like 25, and then Drew finally just folded. Bananas, dude. It was bananas. Absolutely bananas. And I loved it because they were pushing that narrative that this is Sheamus' time to finally get the belt that he hadn't had in the IC title, and it made a whole lot of sense. But Walter retains and shows that why he is the Ring General. Love Walter. Dude's a fucking beast, bro. If you're not tapped into Walter because you may think his character is boring or whatever may be the case, you need to stop, because dude's got that, and there's no discussion. Once he drops the IC title, you can go ahead and just put that man on to one-man rocket with the Imperium and send them straight to the moon and put the big belt on him. 5 stars. Nothing less. There's no discussion. 5 stars. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do it in Spanish. Uno, dos, tres, Cuatro Cinco. Do it in Japanese. Ichi ni san hachi roku. 5 stars. Big beefy men slapping meat, and I thought it might have been a shorter match, but it wasn't. It was it had the right amount of time, the right amount of pops. The crowd was loving. They was eating like a buffet, dude. And the right guy won because he's the best right now, and he needs to beat Honky Tonk Man's reign. The 4-man tag match, Street Profits versus Ricochet, Braun, and then you had Alpha Academy and Ivar and the Viking Raiders. I chose the Street Profits to win this on the whim because I wasn't really emotionally invested into this match in particular, but the match it proved itself to be very worthy. The Street Profits win. Hopefully something's next for them. I could see them having matches with Sami and KO. Spoiler alert. I really want to see them with the Hurt Business. Bring in Canelo Hayes. Keep MVP. You could bring Bobby Lashley. You could have 10 black guys in this faction if you want. Canelo Hayes, Street Profits. Montez Ford deserves some gold on his waist or on his shoulder, wherever he decides to want to wear it. I don't care what you say. The guy's got it. You can have Lashley. You can squash the beef with Almost. You can bring in Cedric Alexander. You can bring in Shelton Benjamin. Stop the whole Maxim model BS and give Mace some actual screen time and make him a heel with these guys, because the guy's got some skill, and this Maxim model bullshit it's not doing it for nobody. Nobody gives a fuck about it, and you need to stop. And I'm glad they finally took LA Knight away from that mess when they did, because he deserves way better than that. Not hugely interested in Mansoor himself. No, nothing towards him or against him. But Mace, I could see something in him, and putting him with the Hurt Business and having this very deep all-black faction. You could have Bianca Belair. Would be beautiful. Nationwide Domination 2.0, the Hurt Business, straight heel, just show up, wreck shit, and leave. Because at this point, they're the only faction besides Judgment Day that can fuck with the Bloodline. Because there's nobody else. I mean, you could say Imperium, but they don't have a female star. I guess they don't technically need a female star. Walter versus Roman is a barn burner, and it would be great, and I could see Walter being the one to take the title off of him if they so happen to choose it, and I would be perfectly okay with that. But if you do the Hurt Business or you have Judgment Day, one of those teams has got to be the teams that's got to step up against the Bloodline and finally break that shit up. But the tag match, 3.5, 3.75 stars. I enjoyed it. There's a lot of really good bright spots. Braun doing the choo-choo thing around the ring, and then getting his shit lit up by Angelo Dawkins was good, because you don't really see many people mitigate the train thing that Braun does. Next match. The female tag match that was on night 2 was okay. Nothing special. They had a couple little nice spots, but I wasn't emotionally invested, and it wasn't even on my predictions card. But Ronda and Shayna Baszler won. I didn't really care. I didn't care at all. Yeah. So what's next? What have I already covered? Covered all of those. All right. All right, let's talk about it. The Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens was absolutely amazing. It was beautiful, because you weren't sure. You thought maybe there was going to be some kind of interference, or the Usos were going to retain, or what the case would have been. But it was great, and I give it an applaud. Just another one, because the match was great, and the people who deserved to win won. And you could see the amount of emotion in Kevin Owens' face at the end when they were announced the winners. I couldn't have asked for anything better. The match was perfect, 5 stars. Sammy hitting his finisher countless amount of times with the Helluva Kick, getting his revenge after the Bloodline did him so dirty over the past amount of consecutive months. He finally got the closure that he deserved, well needed. The guys that actually deserved an actual storyline for a while. if you're not really tuned in with Sami Zayn, he was El Generico before he came to WWE, and I have been in love with that man and his character since the beginning. And the fact that he's never really had any actual storyline until he joined the Bloodline, and then the things fell apart. It's a damn shame, and WWE should be very disappointed in themselves. But they finally made up for it. They finally made right by him with this Bloodline thing. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I was worried about KO turning. I was worried about Sami turning. I was worried about Sola showing up. I was worried about a lot of things because with WWE and these Bloodline guys, you could never be too sure what was going to happen. But they won. And it was much deserved, much needed. And the Usos are going to go down to be one of the greatest tag teams of all time. And there's no discussion. When you start talking about Mount Rushmore of tag teams, you got Edge and Christian. You got the Dudley Boys. You got Matt and Jeff. You got the New Day. Mount Rushmore's only got 4 people, so somebody's going to have to come off, and the Usos are going to have to go on there because they've done it all. They have. What are they? The longest reigning tag champions. They held both the belts. They were having the matches. If you take a look back to when one of my all-time favorite matches was that match they had with the New Day at Hell in a Cell. 3 chef kisses. And then you think about when Kofi Mania happened and they forfeited their match for Kofi to have his chance. The Usos deserve to be in that discussion for one of the greatest tag teams of all time, and I don't think the conversation should be really there because it's cemented themselves to be those guys. But what we're going to talk about now is pretty much the conclusion. I guess I could slide in there that Shane got hurt trying to have a match with The Miz. Not really sure why it happened, but did you care? Because I didn't care. Let me make sure I got all the matches before I dive into the main event because I'm feeling some kind of way. Oh, I guess I got to talk about Bianca versus Asuka. I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. I really enjoy Bianca, but Asuka's been getting shafted time and time again. Like, what is she doing wrong for you guys to not feel like she deserves the big main event, the big moments in Mania? She won the Royal Rumble and then went to WrestleMania and lost. And then she won the Elimination Chamber and then came to Mania and she still lost. I understand you really like Bianca, but at some point in time, you gotta stop fucking over Asuka. The character development, she went from being Asuka to Kana, and she bring in the green mist, and she's doing all the things that you wanted her to, and then she still loses? Why? Why? She deserves the belt. I know she's had the belt in the past, but she deserves to have that on her resume that she won a match at WrestleMania for a belt that she deserved because she was the Elimination Chamber winner. And I understand everybody's hyped on Bianca. Don't get me wrong, I'm hyped on Bianca too. But at some point in time, why are we holding someone else's growth hostage because we're high on someone else? I'm getting animated because I'm sick and tired of the people that I enjoy getting shafted because there's someone else in line that may deserve it, but multiple people can deserve it at the same time. You know? And it goes back to Shinsuke losing at Mania, and then Asuka losing at Mania, and Asuka losing at Mania again, and then just Shinsuke, I understand they don't speak English, and the amount of English they do speak isn't great. But both of those wrestlers are 5-star talents in the ring. And if you go and look at their resumes from New Japan, the matches they put on here in WWE, these guys deserve to be pushed. And the fact that you're not pushing them is, I don't want to say showing some kind of narrative, but it's very WWE-esque. And it's that simple. I'm not mad that Bianca won because Bianca's great. I'm more mad that Asuka lost because Asuka's great. But no one's listening. No one's listening to the little guys. I know I only have 119 subscribers on the channel. If you made it this far, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what your favorite match was. But at some point in time, you got to start pushing some of these foreign talents that don't speak great English but perform in the ring. But they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it, and I'm not sure why. And if you would have told me, because I picked Asuka to win, because I was at this point, I was like, she deserves it. They're not going to give her the shaft again, and they gave her the shaft. So what we're going to talk about now, the final match of WrestleMania. One more time. The match was great, but the fact that the ending happened the way it did, I understand they're the heels and they do the things they do to win the matches the way they do. But you built up Cody to be this main event guy, and for him to just tear the ring down, crossroads after crossroads after crossroads, submission moves, just doing the damn thing, and he fucking loses. He loses? You tell me he loses? You built all this up for him to lose. And when Sami and KO came in and made the save, I said, that's it. That's the sign that he's got to win. But he doesn't? He doesn't win? But why? You bring him in and push him to the top to lose. I know you want Roman to hold the belt longer than Bruno Sammartino. So what you should have done, which was the simplest thing to do, is just put one belt on the line and let him keep the Universal title. And then Rhodes could have won, and he could have still pushed for the record. But it didn't happen that way. It didn't. And a lot of people say he didn't deserve to be in the main event. That's why they brought him in. Because he's a main event talent. And I literally walked outside of my house last night after they counted the 1, the 2, the 3 and said, fuck! Fuck! Because I was so sold on the fact that Cody was getting ready to win this match that I had no idea that Roman was going to win. But he did. He did. And a friend of mine, Josh Hopper, if you're watching this, shout out to Josh, love you, dude. He said it seems kind of fishy that the Usos lose and then Roman loses. And thought of that, and I was like, I mean, I can understand your rationality. And I was watching it behind me because me and my wife was planting some bushes outside of my house, and I was just scrolling down, and I saw him send me a message that said, weak. And I was like, that could be about anything. That could be about anything. Let me not get my hopes up. That could be about anything. And it wasn't. It wasn't. He was talking about Romans versus Rhodes. And I don't know what's next for Roman now. I really don't. I don't know what's next for Cody. I'm not sure what's next for the Bloodline, for the Usos, because I thought this was going to be the culmination of Cody and the conclusion of the Bloodline. But like my wife said, the guys that are the WWE favorites are the ones that always stay afloat. And Roman's the Vince guy, and he's going to continue to hold the belts until how long is far as SummerSlam? It's in the summer. I know he's Bruno Sammartino is like 1,000 or some days. Maybe we'll get Rhodes versus Roman at SummerSlam, and then after he beats the record, that's when Rhodes will get it. But at this point, I don't know. I don't know. The way that match ended, shitted on all of the story build-up, and shitted on how great night 1 was. Between that and Asuka losing, it was just a big fat fuck you to the fans who had Cody winning, had Asuka winning, had all this emotional development into the story for it not to pan out the way that you thought. And I know you say WWE fans want stuff to happen that they don't expect. And I would tell you, yeah, you're right. I do want the things to happen that I don't expect, but I don't want the things that I don't expect to happen to be the things that I don't want to happen. And WWE is famous for that. And I'm not sure what to expect on Raw after Mania. I'm not sure at all. I was disappointed. I was legitimately sick to my stomach because I really thought Roach was going to win, and I guess he wasn't supposed to. But overall, I give the whole 2 nights 4.5 stars. Probably one of the better WrestleManias in the recent years by far. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, you leave a comment, tell me your favorite match of the 2 nights, and you hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 250. We're sitting at 119 right now. I have more WWE 2K23 coming out soon. Tap into the videos on the channel. I've been your host, your neighborhood crabman, also known as Gambino, and Gambino Mafia. Out.